Hello there, this is Mick Box of Uriah Heep, and you're listening to rockmusicstar.com, the best by test.
This is another exclusive Rock Music Star interview. Conducted by Thomas S. Warlock Jr.
Hello, this is Thomas from rockmusicstar.com. The date is April 30th, 2019, and we have guitar icon Mick Box from the classic British rock band Uriah Heep on the phone with us. Uriah Heep will be coming to North America for a major 2-month-long tour with Judas Priest starting on May 3rd. During our conversation with Mick, we discussed the upcoming tour, the 50-year history of Uriah Heep, the classic singles Easy Living and Stealing, and much, much more. So here he is, Mick Box of Uriah Heep. We have guitar icon Mick Box from the classic English rock band Uriah Heep on the phone with us today. Mick, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, mate. I'm in London, and I'm busy doing interviews. In between that, I'm doing some packing because we're off to America tomorrow to start the 2-month tour with Judas Priest right across America and Canada.
Yes, now that is very exciting news for all fans of classic metal, classic rock. Friday, May 3rd, Uriah Heep, like you said, going on tour with Judas Priest. How excited are you and your bandmates about this upcoming 2-month tour?
You know, we're very excited because, when you look at it, Judas Priest released a new album called Firepower, which people are saying is one of the best of their career. Uriah Heep's released an album called Living the Dream, which people are saying is the best of our career. So basically, you're getting two bands each night at the top of their game. You know, which is absolutely fantastic. And then on top of that, you've got nearly 100 years of British metal and British classic rock on stage each night. So it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, this is a tour not to miss. I was so excited when I found out about this, but then I was very disappointed when I found out that you guys aren't playing anywhere near Buffalo, New York.
Oh, what a shame. Well, I'm sorry, my friend, that was out of our hands.
Yeah, I know. One of these days, Uriah Heep is going to play Buffalo, New York, and I'm going to be in the front row. I can guarantee you that.
Fantastic, mate. Fantastic.
Yes. Now you mentioned the fact that the band has been going on for 50 years. That's quite an accomplishment. For you, what is the most gratifying aspect of being in a successful band for 50 years?
I think the most gratifying really is quite a simple one, is that when you meet people after a show or before or even on the street and they come up to you and say, look, I saw your show in 1970, 1980, 1990, 2000, whatever it is, and you really inspired me to pick up a guitar and play guitar. And I now have my own band and I just want to shake your hands. And that's the best accolade you can get, my friend.
Wow, that's quite an accomplishment. What do you attribute to the longevity of the band?
I think, like all bands that have lasted for a while, I think it's down to the songs. I think Uriah Heep's been lucky enough to have a lot of good songs that have stood the test of time that people still like hearing in the live arena. And that's given us a platform then to record new music. So it's a fantastic position, you know, and I think that's why we've got the longevity.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, during this 50-year stretch, I mean, that's a long time for, one person to be in a band. And you guys you kept it going the entire time. It wasn't like you took like a long period of time off in between. I mean, you were pretty consistent with going out on tour and putting out records. But was there ever a time where you thought of maybe, taking a break and breaking up the band and maybe doing something else?
It was only for about 2 days when I wound up the Conquest lineup, the album Conquest. I wound that up and thought, well, what shall I do now? But it was very short-lived. Shortly after that, I put the band together again to record Abominog. And I got Bob Daisley and Lee Kerslake as a rhythm section, which was fantastic. Pete Colby singing, John Sinclair on keyboards, and recorded Abominog. And of course, it went top 40 in America, and it was just amazing. We even did a really cheesy video that went on MTV 8 times a day, because it was the early days of MTV then, wasn't it? Right, and then yes. we went out on tour with Def Leppard, who were the biggest things you can slice bread in America. So it was a very, very exciting time.
Yeah. Now.
But I never really thought about giving up at all. No.
Yeah, it's interesting because in looking at during your career, I mean, you've had some amazing members in the band. And is it true that at one point that David Coverdale and Ian Hunter actually auditioned to be the lead singer of Uriah Heep?
David Coverdale did. He
Okay.
came down for a rehearsal with a bottle of brandy in his hand, and we jammed all day and drank all day, and it was great. It was a really good thing. And then we left it to cool down to get ideas, and our management talked to each other, etc., etc. Then at that same time, David got the opportunity to put Whitesnake together, which of course was his first love, and he got the okay to go with that in recording countries and stuff like that. And so it never came to fruition, unfortunately. But he was superb.
Wow,
You know, as
interesting.
a singer and powerful front man.
Mhm.
But with Ian Hunter, that was only ever smoke being blown up somebody's backside, I think.
Oh, okay. So the
I
Ian
mean, you
Hunter
could never.
thing isn't true.
I mean, in all honesty, you could never see Ian Hunter singing "July Morning," for instance. It wouldn't be in his vocal capabilities. Now, I'm a big Mock the Hoople fan, so I'm not putting him down at all. It just was never a fit in any shape or form.
hmm Now let's go back to the tour that you're about to embark on Friday. Um, with the release of the new record, "Living the Dream" last year, I'm assuming that you're most likely going to put some of the new songs in the set list. Is that correct?
Well, when we do our own shows, where we're allowed to play, our 42 hours, whatever it is, we basically play 7 of the tracks,
Wow.
and all the old classics too. So it's a great show, and it's a great journey through our career from their first album to "Living the Dream," which is not our last, but it's the latest one. But with Judas Priest, we're a special guest, so we have an hour to play. So we decided to cut all the finesse that we do and the acoustic stuff that we do, and just do a straight ahead rock show, because we're well aware that the dynamic of Priest's audience will be metalheaders. So we're going to go out there and just give them some good old classic English hard rock.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm assuming 2 of the songs that you're going to play are going to be, of course, "Easy Living" and "Stealing."
We'll definitely do "Easy Living." I think we've got "Stealing" in one set, because some of the shows are 2 nights. We've changed. We've got 2 different sets in case people come twice. But "Stealing's" in one of the sets. Yes, "Easy Living" will be in both. And that's other than that, I can't remember what the set is, but I will when I get back to my phone where I've got the list on.
Yeah, I want to
But
discuss.
but we're doing a lot of the classic, obviously the classic. A Gypsy, of course.
Yeah.
Look at Yourself and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to discuss those 2 tracks because those 2 tracks are songs that are just timeless, and constantly hearing them on classic rock radio. Can we just discuss "Easy Living"? Can you just tell us a little bit about that song and what your frame of mind?
Yeah, well,
was?
"Easy Living" was something about. Actually, it came from a very unusual source, which you wouldn't think of. We had just finished a tour. I think it was in England, and on the last show, we drove down to London, worked through the night in the studio, then went straight from the studio and caught a plane to start a 3-month tour in America, and we went to Chicago. And to be honest, when we got to Chicago, the record company said, "We've got all this press and everything lined up, and then they'll take you out to dinner." And we were so tired. That's all we wanted to do was go to bed. But, and some of us fell asleep in our dinner. That's how tired we were. So, what was the original question again?
I just want to know.
"Easy Living." Oh, yeah,
writing
somewhere
process.
along the line, as we were doing that, we're sitting all crunched up with the car going to the airport or something, and when somebody said, "Oh, this is "Easy Living," as a joke.
I see. Okay.
And then Ken Hensley remembered that title, and when we were recording Demons and Wizards, he brought that into the studio as a little shuffle, and it came together very, very quickly. And the thing about the song "Easy Living" is that shuffle is very unique only to Lee Kerslake, because other bands have played it, but they never quite get that shuffle right on the drums.
Yeah.
So if you listen to other versions, it's never quite right. And it's something only Lee can pull off most of the time. Now, our drummer Russell, he used to teach drums, so he's picked up on it, so he can do it correctly.
So he's got it down, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
How about the song "Stealing"? What was the story behind that song?
Singing it again, it was a Hensley song, and it was something he brought into the studio, and it sounded very good. Once you started the song with the pulse of the bass, it gave it the real feel, you know. We used to come out with dry ice under that bit, you know, and so it gave it a visual as well. And then the band kicks in really hard, and it's got a great chorus to it where everyone can sing along, you know. Stealing, you know, it's great, you know. It's a song that really happened more in America than probably anywhere else.
Yeah.
Everywhere else loved it, but it is our place in people's hearts in America, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember that being the very first Uriah Heep song I heard, you know, back when I was a kid, like in 1978 when I started following rock music.
But it was only a turntable hit, unfortunately, in America, because at the time they didn't like the lyric, "He done the Dark Farmer's daughter."
That's a great lyric.
And so it was only a turntable hit for a while, and then it kind of got buried for a while.
Wow.
I've got no idea. I mean, we could have gone in the studio and said another word. You know, he kissed the farmer's daughter. He loved the farmer's daughter, but we never thought about it.
Just, you were stubborn. You wanted to go with the original. I hear you.
Well, we'll go with the original, and plus, you know, done isn't really that bad.
Yeah, no, not nowadays.
It certainly didn't warrant a warning sticker on the album, did it?
Certainly not. Back to 1978 when I first discovered Uriah Heep. I think it was that year that you toured with Jethros Hall in America. What was that tour like?
It was a really good tour. I really enjoyed the tour. It was great going out every night and watching Ian Anderson, because he was really on top of his game back then, you know, as a showman and everything. And it was great. I mean, we actually did the Madison Square Gardens, which in those days of no internet, we were doing the first satellite link-up between Madison Square Gardens in New York with London. So that was quite an achievement. That was quite something.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was really cool. Yeah, it was a good tour.
Yeah, I also want to talk about your unique guitar style. How did you develop that, and who were some of your influences?
Well, I had a teacher for a few months, and his name was Alan Hodgkiss, and he used to be the second guitarist for Django Reinhardt. So, obviously, his teachings were very jazz-orientated. So, you know, Sweet Georgia Brown, all those sort of songs with all those ninths and some 13ths and things like that, and major sevenths. He used to bang them all into it, and of course that's where I started learning. And then, of course, springing off from Django, which was, you know, he was such a great guitarist, Django Reinhardt himself. So, because my teacher worked with him, you know, I obviously had to listen to that and went, God, he's doing all this with those, you know, with missing fingers. It's amazing. And then I got into Barney Kessel and Tal Farlow and Les Paul, Mary Ford and all that sort of stuff. So it was kind of got into that jazzy sort of rolling sort of thing. And I used to like the inversions of chords, you know, they sounded great and felt great when you played them. Mm-hmm. And then I kind of moved into Buddy Holly, Eddie Cochran, and that style of songwriting. I mean, Eddie Cochran was more of a rocker. You know, Summertime Blues and stuff. I mean, Three Steps to Heaven was a wonderful song. Anyway, from there, it grew into the, you know, there was the Beatles and the Stones about. I was aware of them all and all that sort of stuff, but it didn't really happen to me till I picked up an album by Jeff Beck called Truth, with Rod Stewart singing. And he did Truth and Beckola with Rod, and Rod Stewart never sang any better than on those albums. And that was a good chemistry. But Jeff, his playing was just immense. And he used the wah-wah, and he used to make the guitar talk and stuff, and that got me into using the wah-wah, which I've used ever since, you know.
Yeah.
I don't use it in the same way, because I use it more as an expression pedal. When I'm bending notes up, I go down with the foot, you know, so the tone goes up with it. But, you know, that gave me my style, basically. Yeah. And the fact that I never did scales or anything like that. I bucked against all that stuff. I bucked against, sheet music, reading other people's music, because I didn't want to play other people's songs. I wanted to play my own, you know. And it kind of developed from there, really. I mean, you know, an A4 sheet of paper with tadpoles on it was not the way I'm going to go, you know.
Right. Yeah. Well, Mick, since we have to wrap up this interview, I have one last question for you. And
Okay,
what is it that you would still like to accomplish musically?
Musically, I think you just have to, you know, every song you write and every solo you play, you hope is the best one. You know, you better yourself. I know it's impossible to do at times, but you know, because sometimes you've already done some great stuff, and then you look back and you go, "Wow, how did I do that?" But you know, I think it's more that it's just the musical sense. You know, as long as I can keep writing and playing solos and things and enjoying that side of it, that's really all I want to achieve.
I see. Well, Mick, I just want to thank you very much for your time, and best of luck on this tour. I'm sure you guys are going to kick ass every night.
Thank you very much, my friend. Thanks for your support too. It's much appreciated.
Oh, you're welcome. Have yourself a great day.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.
I hope that you enjoyed our interview with Mick Box from Uriah Heep. Please send any comments to Thomas at rockmusicstar.com. Also, please check out my site, rockmusicstar.com, for more exclusive interviews, concert photos, and much more.